You're listening to Honey, We Made a Disney Podcast. Two friends since the only way to be cool was to wear an Old Navy fleece vest. Now dad's reliving the Disney movies we grew up on with our own kids. I'm JB Waggoner.
And I'm Eddie Ferguson. And on today's episode, we got the makings of greatness in us. But we got to take the helm and chart our own course. Stick to it, no matter the squalls. And when the time comes, we'll get the chance to really test the cut of our sails and show what we're made of. And well, we hope you're there, catching some of the light coming off of us as we review Treasure Planet. But before that, JB, how are you and the family doing?
Great. Inspired. Very inspired right now, Eddie. One, because of your incredible monologue there, which I'm sure we'll talk about in here. But also from just the Christmas spirit right now, just full of Christmas in our house. Just got all of our decorations up. We've had the tree up for a couple weeks before we went on Thanksgiving because I pulled it down from the garage and my daughter was very excited about the tree coming out of the attic. And so we had to put that up. So we finally got all of our Christmas decorations up. And today, because we were going to wait till next Saturday, but the kids were begging and pleading with us because we got a special gingerbread house to make. So the kits at Target, they got these gingerbread houses, and now they've expanded their offerings, not just a gingerbread cottage. You got the gingerbread, like larger home, like almost like mansion size, like Barbie mansion. You've got now the cocoa stand, if you want to go small and tiny, a little cocoa stand. You've also got townhomes or like a row of like in New York City or in London, like the row of homes.
I saw a tweet about a craftsman style gingerbread house.
I think that's the bigger one I was thinking of, but that is not the one we bought, Eddie. The one that we let the kids choose, and they chose this one. You can actually get a Target store gingerbread.
No, that is awesome.
It's amazing. We were not expecting this. It's a little tiny Target, and it comes with a pre-made
its own Spots playground.
You get a little spot and a little shopping cart made of whatever that hard
royal icing.
Yes, royal icing. Yeah. And it was fun and it was delectable and everything. They're just understanding that we don't want to just shop at Target. We want to play and do everything at Target now. So our kids loved it. They were so excited. In previous years, we kind of had to help them. This year, it was like we just erected the thing, got it like standing up, and then they took it from there and just like they wanted to do all the things and try different stuff. And I had to like, no, you can't let the tree just stand. Like, why won't the tree stand up? We got to put the tree up against the building. And they just went to town everywhere on it. And we were just kind of standing there watching them. That's the age that we've now hit at. They don't even need us to decorate their gingerbread anymore. They got it.
I'm going to need photos of this.
Oh, I will text my wife right now to have her send you some stuff.
I need to see the gingerbread Target store. We were just talking about this the other day. I was just like, we could really go for just a Target trip. There's something so fun, relaxing. You know, you always cut your, you say, okay, we're only going to spend this amount. But in your mind, you're going to double that. So you just got to like plan that in accordingly. It's like only Target that do you go into the dollar bin and come out with like $50 worth of stuff. Like, wait, this is all dollar bin stuff. This all
seriously? Yep. Yeah, but enough about me, Eddie. We've got some Disney news to cover. We got a little bit of an anecdote as well as some new trailers, some new rumors that are kind of swirling around. But we wanted to start off with, we kind of gave you all a break from Chapek last week. We kind of said, hey, we did the big Chapek Bob Iger news 2 weeks ago or two episodes ago. There was a little nugget that we heard in the Disney Dish, and might have been other places as well. But the way that Chapek found out, Eddie, do you wanna take the reins on this? Like, I feel like
I have no idea how they found out about this, but everybody's got their sources. and it wouldn't surprise me if this is how it went down. But apparently the chairman of the board, Susan Arnold, just calls Chapek and says, Bob, you're out. Our lawyers will call yours. Click. Like, as he's driving to the Elton John concert to introduce Elton John at his last concert in North America and Disney Plus's first big, like, live streaming event. This is, a big, big, big deal. Bob, you're out. Our lawyers will call yours. Click.
It's incredible. I think I
want to know, like, how long does he go until he tells the driver to turn around?
So was yeah. Well, I had heard, like, in their story, the Disney Dish, they made it out to sound like he was, like, backstage, like, ready to go. Oh, like
he was actually there. Yeah.
That was their rendition of it. I don't know what is true or what's false, but the fact that it was just very simple, to the point, and just like, you're done, man. And
well, you probably can't say anything else. Like, we live in such a litigated world. They probably can't say anything else.
But did he try to fight for his job? I don't know. But anyway, it was just hilarious that this guy who's been a pariah for so many of the fans, especially park fans, for so many years, to just get ousted that quickly and that just succinctly. It's just a little nugget that I wanted to make sure that our listeners would hear that.
I'm loving the Dear Bob letters that are all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over YouTube. Just like everybody is writing or sending out, like, I wish Bob Iger would do this, and it's like all of this, like, random stuff. And you're like, yeah, they're like facing down billions of dollars of profit loss. Like, he's not reading your Twitter letters. Like, ain't nobody got time for that. But the big thing was, over the weekend, he and the chairman of the Parks Division, Josh DeMauro, went to candlelight processional at Disneyland.
Whoa.
And so it's like, whoa, they're in the parks together. And they walked around DCA a little bit. They walked around Disneyland together a little bit. And they had, like,
people saw them there, or like private?
Oh, there was, like, my Twitter feed blew up on, like, sightings of Bob Iger in the parks and all of this stuff.
I mean, and this is early in, like, he's just taken over and just had his first, like, all hands on and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like 14 days in. Yeah. Like, he had the town hall. He didn't really say anything in that town hall. He just kind of was just, like, steadying the ship. It's like, oh yeah, we'll look into that. Oh, okay, we'll look into that. They asked him about park reservations and this, that, and the other. And he just kind of like, well, I'm new back. It'll give me a little bit. We'll figure it out.
But that is a big deal for him to walk around the park at like, obviously just getting a lay of the land, or maybe it was just a picked, like, people seeing him, like, on the ground, like, doing stuff, and could have been that too.
It'll be helpful. Speaking of people walking around places,
yes. So this is a little bit of news. So Daisy Ridley, who plays Rey in the trilogy, the ending Star Wars saga.
Sequel trilogy. Let's make sure that this is distinguished accordingly.
Got the prequel, sequels.
The lesser than sequel trilogies.
It's lesser than. Aren't just all of the other than the core ones, the lesser trilogies?
Sure, yeah. You've got your core trilogy, number one, no questions asked. Then I think now we established prequel trilogies, and then lesser than all of those is the sequel trilogy.
I mean, this is a longer conversation, but Jar Jar Binks was really bad. Are we just glossing over that?
I have my moments of liking Jar Jar.
No, just never. But this is not that podcast. We can get into that at another day. I know I've just ending the conversation here, but we don't have time for this, Eddie. We can't do another hour and 45-minute long podcast.
I know we did do a long one last time.
But Daisy,
hold on. Are you seriously saying that the sequel trilogies are better than the prequel? The sequel trilogy is better than the prequel trilogy.
Is Jar Jar was really bad. He was really bad. I want to
hear right here, right now, or I can't go any further. Are you saying the sequel trilogy is better than the prequel trilogy?
Eddie, I am on record, I believe, or at least have told many people that Revenge of the Sith is one of the best of the entire series.
Okay.
That alone, I think that movie is better than anything in the sequel trilogy did.
Agreed, wholeheartedly.
So for that level, I would say yes, but those first 1 and 2 are really bad. 1 and 2 are really bad.
But they've got some moments in them that make me really, really love them and enjoy them.
So that's where it's mixed. That's what I'm saying. It's a longer conversation, but
prequel trilogy is better than sequel trilogy.
I'm just saying what I said before. I don't want to get down the weeds of it.
I feel like you're being a politician right
I'm
now
not.
and giving me the non-answer. So you're saying the prequel trilogy is better than the sequel trilogy? Yes or no?
I am giving a non-committal committal.
Yes or no?
It's debatable. Eddie is moving his camera down as if he's going to close the session and be over with. We should do that all next episode. I feel like we shouldn't just like jam that in here. We should like give it a full episode to talk about all the Star Wars ones.
Whenever we decide to bring back listener feedback for all 15, we're now up to 15.
We are at 15.
My cousin is listening, which is great.
Your cousin is 15. Michaela is number 14. So my teammate. So
we're growing.
So what were we talking about? Oh, Daisy Ridley. That's
Daisy Ridley went and visited Lucasfilms.
Yeah, she posted that she on Instagram that she, or I think it was Instagram, that she was at Lucasfilm last week. This is big news, Eddie. Is she going to be reprising her role as Rey? Are they going to make new Star Wars films? Like, what is it? The sequel trilogy? Like, what's going to happen here?
I liked Rey. I
think everybody does.
I think everybody likes Rey. A wonderfully strong character. I think whatever our beloved friend J.J. Abrams did there at the end in confusing her character, I didn't really understand. But up until that moment, I thought she was a great character. Lots of potential on story arc that he ruined. But yeah, I love that character. I would love to see more from her. I'd love to see like pre-Force Awakens story, how maybe that could be interesting, some Jakku action there. I don't know. Or she just went and visited some old friends.
I feel like it's a big deal. Like if she was just going to visit people, she's not going to like tell people and like stir things up because she just knows anything that she posts about Lucas films is going to cause a stir. I feel like it's a precursor. It's like a nod to something else. It may not be an entire series, although it looks like they're like wading in those waters right now, looking for what's going to be next in the movie world.
Yeah, they don't know.
But it could be that it could be as simple as she's voicing a character in one of the Clone Wars series or something like that. Like one of those animated series. She could be doing that. Yeah.
So it's not in our notes, but we're on the Lucasfilm topic. I listened to 2 separate podcasts, like my Disney nerdy podcasts, and both said that the decision for Kathleen Kennedy to leave Lucasfilm has been made. She is leaving.
What?
But
how is this not the entire podcast, Eddie?
But it's not public. Like it's a very, very hush-hush thing, and they're waiting until after the release of Indiana Jones 5. Like once we're on the other side of Indiana Jones 5, then she will take her curtain call bow from Lucasfilm. But it's like super hush-hush. Nobody is really talking about it.
InsideTheMagic.net. I'm seeing a whole article about this that I am flabbergasted. I have not heard anything about yet.
Well, a little bit bigger of a switcheroo happened around the same time that started coming out. So.
Little bit bigger news.
Yeah, a little bit bigger.
That's
I mean,
insane.
at the end of the day, I don't like what she's done with Star Wars at all, or let it. But at the end of the day, she still goes down as one of the biggest producers in Hollywood history.
Yeah, her IMDb is insane.
Is insane. It's incredible.
Not even just like leading all of Lucasfilm, but like before that, her direct producing films is incredible. It's impeccable.
Yes. So all the respect in the world for her career and all of those things, but don't like, what Star Wars has done under her. So, but what I have liked about Star Wars is The Mandalorian, and we just found out its release date.
So excited. March 1st, a little bit later than I was expecting. We were expecting kind of February, but you know what? We'll take any official date. March 1st is when we get Baby Yoda. I was about to say Grogu, but that's not right. Baby Yoda and Mando back together with the crew going to go save Mandalore. Are you excited about this, Eddie? It's been 2 years. It's been over 2 years since our last, not totally since our full season of The Mandalorian. We did get those 2 Boba Fett episodes. Yeah, we did get those. And I think that's kind of what's held it over a little bit for me. I am really excited. I think on the heels of Andor delivering, I think even with Boba Fett, I was a little like, this didn't meet my expectations, my hopes, my dreams and desires for this. But Andor delivered. So I hope The Mandalorian continues to. The first 2 seasons were incredible. The episodes of Boba Fett were my favorite of the Boba Fett series. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll have to have like a watch party on March 1st. Yeah, we still have not tried that, Eddie. Trying to do the watch party at the same time.
What's crazy is they've now got it set up where like Disney Plus and Apple FaceTime like sync, and you can like FaceTime watch party. It's like, whoa.
So you need to actually use probably like an iPad or something like that to like watch it together to get that right.
Or so you're doing one on one device and one on another. So like we could watch it on our Apple TV and then FaceTime on our iPad.
Gotcha. If we had an Apple TV, that's what we would do. But you know what? I've given up on Apple.
You have given up on Apple. So many disappointing things are coming out here.
This is going to be a rough episode for me.
I love our Apple TV. The seamless integration of everything.
Integration. We know, there's just no segue for this.
Nope.
Last 2 things that came out this week, we got 2 awesome, great trailers.
Great trailers.
The first one, it's not just a trailer, but we also got the title for the new Indiana Jones movie coming out June 30th. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Not your radio dial. It's going to be something else probably, but
I love the alliteration.
Dial of Destiny.
As a preacher, gotta love the alliteration. And it's intriguing. I'm hearing rumors of maybe some type of time travel thingamajigger going around.
Well, it can't be any worse than the aliens they had.
Can't be. Cannot be. No, that was... The aliens weren't what was so bad about. Oh yeah, we don't have time to we could.
We've got our next.
I love Indiana Jones. I love Indiana Jones.
So did this trailer do it for you? Did it like give you all the feels and the emotions and take you literally back in time?
It did. But this is the consternation that we have. We get excited over these trailers and then we go see the movie. You know what I mean? You've been there. You watch this and you're like, oh, this is going to be, no, never mind.
Andor was that. It did it. It had great trailers.
Andor met.
And it delivered.
Andor met it.
Had a good time with Wakanda Forever as well. Those trailers were amazing. And then loved the movie too.
So we'll see. I'm excited. It looks It looks very good, classic Indiana Jones. They did a whole bunch of like de-aging things in there, and you got a couple of shots of that in the trailer, which looks good, looks really legit.
Sala is back. Sala's back in the flesh.
Yeah, and then I just forgot his name. The guy who plays the villain. What is his name?
Can't help you here. I'm sorry.
He was the villain for Casino Royale.
Oh, yes.
He was Grindelwald in Fantastic Beasts, at least the last one.
Mickles? That's not the same guy, is it?
Thought so.
Mickles?
Yeah.
We'll have to look this up while Eddie is waxing eloquently about how amazing the trailer was.
Phil.
Phoebe Waller-Bridges is also in this as well.
Overall, great.
Mads Mikkelsen, you're right.
Mads Mikkelsen. There you go.
Hold up. Antonio Banderas is in this.
He's in this. Yeah, they got a lot of people.
Toby Jones.
Uh-huh.
He plays it great. There's a lot of Nazi energy in this. So Toby Jones plays a great Nazi.
They go back, yeah. He's done it for Marvel. Now he's coming to do it here. No, this hits all of the chords. You've got that epic horse chase through the streets. You've got him outgunned by a whole bunch of people, but he's using his whip. There's just a couple of like really good tropes in there where you're like, okay, give us fan service. That's what we want here. We want a good old classic Indiana Jones tale.
It
looks like it.
The director is James Mangold, who did Walk the Line, Logan, Ford versus Ferrari, The Greatest Showman. Oh, he was an executive producer on that. But great.
No Lucas, no Spielberg. They've not written any of this, and they're not directing. I think I'm pretty sure they get producer credits, but
we will see how well that goes then.
Yeah.
Well, having the men in there.
They came back for Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, so
yeah, that didn't. I'm pretty sure that I've only seen that movie once, and I fell asleep in it, and I was in college, and I was touring with Heartsong, and came to a host home. They turned it on. I watched a quarter of it and then fell asleep immediately and just heard everybody rant and rave about how awful it was. So I never went back and rewatched it, but
I saw it in theaters, and I think I've seen it on DVD once.
Do you regret that decision?
No. I mean, it had its moments.
You do. It's okay. You can say it, Eddie.
That's not one of my favorites. We also, apparently it was like Brazil Comic-Con. Like I texted you, I'm like, why are we getting all of these trailers all in one day? It's because it was Brazil Comic-Con going on. And we got Guardians of the Galaxy 3 trailer, which is good because we just watched the holiday special. What was your reaction to this trailer?
It's same Guardian, same energy. Same irreverent energy. I did love the landing on someone's own planet and then Drax not knowing how to play and toss the ball back and just nailing the little kid in the face.
I laughed out loud both times watching the trailer at that moment because unfortunately I have done that myself to a small child, and it is so embarrassing. A small child that was not my own.
It reminds me of the Peyton Manning on SNL after winning the Super Bowl and just throwing the ball at kids' heads. It was great. It looks like we're getting
one of the best SNL sketches of all time, by the way.
It's top 10. It's incredible.
Easily.
Evidently, we're getting a Rocket origin story in here. That's fun.
I already see the baby Rocket plush being sold at gift shops. I can see it now.
You can also just get one by just finding any place that will sell you a raccoon skin. You can also get it there.
Skin? Whoa.
Looks like we're getting Gamora. They're reuniting with Gamora. That's going to be awesome.
Good. We needed that.
But the big thing that hit me when I just watched this, because I just watched this again right before we got on, was James Gunn. It's his last Marvel product that he's going to be a part of because he has taken the helm at DC. So this is his last film, his last hurrah. And maybe that's why there was a little bit of energy of one last time. They finally faced the music. It's like they're saying all the things of like, I don't know that everybody's going to make it out of this.
Exactly. Who do you think's going to die?
Could be Rocket. I don't think they're going to get rid of Baby Groot. I think Swole Groot is gonna stay on.
Are we going to lose Star-Lord?
I don't think so.
He's crying quite emotionally at something in that scene. So
I don't think they'd bring back Gamora. I don't think it'd be bring back Gamora just to kill him. Could be Drax.
Could be.
He's been everywhere, so it might be his time. I just don't know that they're going to kill off Star-Lord. I don't know.
Yeah,
that could just be me.
We'll see. I'm excited for this one. I think the second Guardians was not my favorite. I was kind of disappointed by that. I need to go back and rewatch it, but didn't really enjoy it. But the first one is fantastic.
Set a new tone. That the reason that we had Thor Ragnarok was because of the what happened with Guardians, like just it coming on the scene and just changing the energy for the MCU. It did a lot of good stuff.
Agreed. And so we'll see how this turns out. We got what, beginning of May. This is going to be this is going to kick off the summer season. So we've got Guardians in May 6th. And then Indiana Jones at the end of June
30th. Yep. We got Spider-Man. I've got Eddie. I've created my own. Maybe I should share this with you, but I've made my own document that has all of the dates. And there's other things in there like Fast 10. And for some odd reason, I put Transformers Rise of the Beast in there because that trailer also dropped this week.
That looks so ridiculous.
It looks exactly like what you would think it was going to be. Roosevelt by Scorsese. I saw some information about that. I know you're going to be excited. That's some history stuff.
And Oppenheimer, Nolan's new film, that trailer dropped as well during all of this. That looks really good. I think 2023 might be the year of just like, let's do this. Boom.
There's a ton, basically from May 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different movies, not counting shows that on here. I think this is probably partially due to the pandemic kind of putting a lot of things on hold and them having to push other things back. This might be just the natural way of things where we're now getting the movies that like are just kind of all pushed back together and now they're finally all coming out. It'll be interesting.
I think Top Gun Maverick showed everybody you can make the money in the box office again. Like you can pull in the huge numbers. And I think Avatar Way of Water will be the second shoe to drop of everybody going, oh, yeah, them going to the theaters is still going to the theaters. You can make your money there.
I thought you were going to say Strange World was the reason it was going to do that for people.
Not at all. I think that does the opposite, sadly. But
sadly, it's only made $25 million, and it was 140 plus all the whatever else they had to spend on it. Bad. But that's it. That's all the Disney news that we have for you today. But now we are here to really talk about the cult classic that people are just dying to get some respect because it was so overlooked in the moment. But the 2002, our last film of 2002, Eddie. Next week we're going to be jumping into a whole new year, whole new expectations, whole new lease on life as we got our driver's license at that time. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Or maybe 2004. No, it was 2003. Yep.
Don't tease it too much.
Yep. We'll talk about that more next week. But this week we're here to talk about the movie Treasure Planet.
Cue the Disneyest sound effect.
Okay, Eddie, buckle up because this is going to take a little bit as we do this IMDb description for this movie.
I'm ready.
Okay, IMDb description for Treasure Planet is this. In this scientific fiction rendering of the classic novel Treasure Island, Jim Hawkins, aka Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is a rebellious teen seen by the world as an aimless slacker. After he receives a map from a dying pirate, he embarks on an odyssey across the universe to find the legendary Treasure Planet. Come on, guys. We don't need all of that. We don't need to have people. The worst thing that you can do is put the actor's name in this description, and they did it. And multiple lines. They did everything wrong in this, Eddie. I'm upset.
It's too heavy. It's not teasing it enough. It's just serving it up cold.
Honestly, they could have stopped at the science fiction rendering of the classic novel Treasure Island.
Exactly. I agree, because everybody knows Treasure Island. Mm-hmm. Like, if you grew up in the English speaking world, you know Treasure Island. It is a classic. It is required reading. I can't remember. It was like maybe junior high we were required to read it in an English class.
That was like fourth grade. I thought it was like
maybe.
Yeah. I thought it was early.
So good. Like, I'm reading Treasure Island to Lewis right now. Like, that is how, like, come on. Like, this is, part and parcel. So yeah, I think that could have done it just fine, and everybody would have remembered it, would have, known what this was all about.
Did you go see it in theaters when it came out? Were you right there with everybody else?
I did. I was right there with everybody else.
Just a few people, because it really did bomb. Very similar to Strange World, actually.
Well, let's get that out of the way here. Everybody with the Strange World bombing keeps wanting to compare it back to Treasure Island, because previously, prior to Strange World, Treasure Planet was the worst opening of any Disney movie. That being said, it earned $38 million in the US Canada market and $110 million worldwide. Strange World's not getting anywhere near any of those numbers.
25 million in 2 weeks. So it's not local. Like, domestic is close. It's close.
Yeah. Anywho, and
just gonna move on.
This was 20 years ago. Let's adjust for inflation and all those wonderful things, and we'll see.
You're right on that. Yeah, 20 years later. Yep.
So yes, I did see it, and immediately fell in love with this movie, and has been a regular rewatch, soundtrack listened to frequently. Yeah. I don't know how hard out of the gate you want me to go here, but
I'm still waiting on your Disney soundtracks that sucked hierarchy, Eddie, because we get the same thing from you every week. It's like the soundtrack's
I love
amazing.
The soundtrack. I love the soundtrack.
I'm still waiting on your, like, these are the ones that did not do it for you. But no, go for it. This is the stage is yours, Eddie. The energy. I just want you to full energy right now. That's what I want from you.
We need to be writing all this down. Like, we need to have an episode on apparently Indiana Jones. We need to have an episode on Star Wars, and now ranking soundtracks, because there are some stinkers. Yeah.
Do tell.
Aladdin. We've already talked about that. I would put this in my top 5 favorite Disney movies of all time.
Wow. High praise. It's not even the Disney decade.
Love this movie. One, source material, one of my favorite books. I've read it a couple of times. Like I said, I'm reading it now to Lewis. I mean, just the sense of adventure for a young man I love those storylines. Like those just capture me. I'm a sucker for them, and this is no exception. I also love science fiction. So the combination of kind of classic with science fiction. And I think one of the things that I love so much about this is they don't overdo it. I feel like it's a good balance. Like they give you the science. I mean, of course, I mean, it's set, it's Treasure Planet, it's pirate ships in space. It is science fiction, but the way that the production design carries that out, I think is so eloquent. Yeah. I love this movie.
So I am not fluent with classic literature, but watching this, it seemed to me like they did a good job of keeping to the source material. And even though they took liberties and flip-flopped some stuff and flipped some characters around and obviously invented kind of a whole world to this or worlds, it seemed like they did a good job of keeping to the heart of the story and even different plot points and stuff that movies like Muppet Treasure Island just kind of threw out and just kind of did their own thing because that's what they do. But just rewatching this again, it reminded me of when I was younger, reading this story and be like, oh yeah, that's right. That's what happened next. And they have the little hut and the little guy that they find on the island, and they kind of played around with all of that, which in a really good way.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like they stayed true to the source material, definitely in plot sequence. With character, I think they kind of, especially Silver. I like what they do with Silver there, of kind of making him even more of a father figure to Jim. You don't really get that as much in the book, and I liked it. I think it worked well in film to kind of have that.
Yeah, that was it. That might have been the biggest departure, but it also was probably the best part of this film for me. Was that relationship between Silver and Jim Hawkins, that budding relationship, and how he took him under his wing and taught him stuff, and like played that tough love father figure for him. It seemed like it definitely was a departure from what the source material was, but I also felt like that was really where the heart of this movie was. And even though it was different, it was a good choice, I believe. Like that's what kind of, maybe that's made it more Disney-fied, like giving him a father figure that really cared about him, but it made all of the other moments inside of it and the choices that were made kind of come together. And it's like he really did care about him, even though he was also trying to do this mutiny and all the horrible things.
Well, I think from a Disney animation standpoint, Jim Hawkins is one of the more complex protagonists. I think is to be abandoned by his biological father, by his real father. Just the way that they carry out the complexities of his character and all of that. And I love that you start with him as a small child reading the book, and you just see the awe and the amazement of a small child. And then you cut, and then here he is as a teenager, a little, classic teenager, right? Just kind of like ticked off at the world, misunderstood, all of that shift, that arc of the character so quickly.
Narrating your life.
Oh, and there, so there we go. Like I awesome love
montage.
An awesome montage, and then you throw the Goo Goo Dolls in there, which for the early 2000s, come on, like Goo Goo Dolls, come on.
I may have forgotten that it was the Goo Goo Dolls, and I just turned to my wife and said, "Is this Lifehouse? Who is this? This is somebody from that time frame." We looked up like, "Oh, John Rzeznik. Oh, Goo Goo Dolls."
Rzeznik,
in the song "I'm Still Here." Yeah,
it's not officially the Goo Goo Dolls; it's just the lead singer of the Goo Goo Dolls. Yeah, but what a wonderful montage that just gives you such heart and complexity of character right off the top. And then just as you should be getting annoyed with him, like, this teenager angsty stuff, I'm tired of it. Then you get Silver and the relationship with him, and you begin to see Jim change and grow through all of that. And then that final act of the movie, and just kind of seeing him take charge and lead, and then, get on the right path, as it were. I think that's part of the reason why I love this story in this movie so much, is their ability to capture that, I don't know, that kind of restless desire for so many young men who want to be something, but they want to discover it for themselves, right? Like there's something about young men as they grow up don't want to do what everybody is telling them to do, or to take the path everybody's telling them to take. But so they're wrestling and they're trying to figure it out. And I don't know. Did you connect with that? Like, do you feel that in this story, or is it you're just an old grumpy man now who don't remember all those things?
No, the energy is great in it. The only thing holding, thought it was fun. The only thing holding me back is, like, I know the Treasure Island story inside and out, and sideways and backwards and all that kind of stuff. So when you've just been around that story for so long, it's so familiar that it didn't necessarily, like, it wasn't the greatest thing. It wasn't like my favorite, but it's not because of their execution of it. It's because I've heard this story before, like, and told in many different ways. I remember watching it when I was younger, but this was the first time I know I have sat down and watched it before at some point, and probably even with my family, like maybe when we even got Disney Plus for the first time. But I think because I was just like, oh, yep, now he's going to do that. Oh, Silver's going to do this. And I forgot about that guy. Oh, that was kind of fun. I actually, the person I was really most not gravitated to, like, emotionally, but just, like, had the most fun with was Ben. Partially because my name,
Martin Short.
Yeah, Martin Short. He made it so, like, he just, like, you just did not know what he was gonna say next. At one point, he's just, like, talking all of a sudden. He's like, "Was I ever dancing with an android named Lupe?" Just like, where did that come from? I loved Ben. Was like just a bundle of live wires. Just any moment he was gonna say anything. So I really enjoyed him. And I did love the relationship between Silver and Jim Hawkins, but the beats, I knew what all those were going to happen. So that didn't like wow me. It was just like, wow, you guys did a really good job with utilizing the source material and making it fun and interesting, but it was not out of this world, like top of the line for me. But, also a lot of these films, I'm coming to them later. So maybe if I was, 16 years old or 14 years old watching this movie and, like, getting to see it, maybe I would have been head over heels for it. What I am head over heels for is their attempt, at least, to incorporate just to a whole nother level the CGI and the 2D animation. All the characters themselves were 2D, and a lot of everything else was CGI. Even though it's kind of rough, like, watching it again, it's rough CGI, but for the time it was, like, probably groundbreaking. But even, like, just Silver himself, there's a great video you sent about the 107 facts that you didn't know about Treasure Planet, and they go through how even Silver himself, like, he's hand drawn, but then his cyborg arm is all CGI, and there's another even form of graphics that they're using as well in certain moments.
Well, and they did the CGI, but they flattened it and made it look 2D.
Yep.
Which is really, really cool effect.
Yep. So there are a lot of groundbreaking things that they did with this. So much so that it was still one of the highest budgeted animated films and 2D animated films of all time, which kind of led into the other things that we talked about. But I just appreciate the fact that they were trying and they were doing different things, even if there's conspiracy theories that they let it go over budget so that they could go fully into CGI and get out of 2D animation. But
well, and let's also let's just settle this here and there. I think one of the main reasons why it bombed is it was going up against Harry Potter. Like, come on,
yeah.
Your audience is going to go see that. Like, how did you not know? I mean, it was Chamber of Secrets that it opened against. Like, come on, people. Yeah, that's why Treasure Planet really did not do as well in the theaters. But this is beautiful. I think this is absolutely beautiful. Even as we went back and rewatched it, and I've been doing research for this, I would love this poster, the main poster. It's of him poster. Up on the sails, and you see the pirate ship and Treasure Planet up over the nebula. Wow, that's really beautiful, and it captures so well the overall feel of this movie. I feel like it just has a great artistic direction, not just how they chose to do the science fiction elements, but there's just so many moments of this that's beautiful, and the space sequences are really cool.
The star implosion was excellent. The whole pacing of that, as the stars imploding and they're getting sucked in and then they're getting pushed out immediately. That was great. That was awesome what they did with that whole sequence. The only CGI thing that I did not appreciate was the floating whales. Those were pretty bad. Those were 2000
and Fantasia 2000. Yeah.
Whales. I was like,
I thought the same thing.
Should have spent a little bit more time on that. But man, that star implosion, that was a great sequence.
Such a great sequence. Well-paced action. I love that. We've got to talk about the voice cast. Because I think they've assembled just an outstanding, stellar voice cast. We've already mentioned Martin Short as Ben, the robot, who is fantastic in that. But you've also got Emma Thompson as Captain Amelia. You've got David Hyde Pierce as Dr. Doppler, which I love his voice performance in this. His character's kind of little trope is of slipping and having a lot of Freudian slips, saying something that you shouldn't say but sounds similar to what he's trying to say. That I love that running gag through all that, and David Hyde Pierce really carries that through. Brian Murray as the voice of John Silver. There's a reason I gave the epic in the opening here. I think what brings the heart to that relationship so much is his little fatherly speeches to Jim. There are moments where I found myself holding my breath listening to him, or thinking man, that is a really beautiful, it's a piece of poetry and writing of how, and then the way he delivers it and brings life to it is just absolutely incredible. So, but also we got to say Jim Hawkins is voiced by Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Love Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Gotta love ourselves some Joseph Gordon-Levitt. And perfect for this. I couldn't think of anybody better for this. Just that angst, that moodiness, but aspiring for something more of Jim and all of that. He emotes that so well. And yeah, I just love that performance. So great voice cast all the way through here.
Some great quotes in this. One of Silver's that I loved and I laughed out loud was as he's letting go of the ship with all the treasure in it to save Jim Hawkins, and he says, "Just a lifelong obsession, Jim. I'll get over it." So he just lets it all go. But honestly, the
I
one
love hit. Oh, sorry.
No, you go for it. You're good.
I was going to say one of my favorite quotes that I think is just beautiful is, "Look at you glowing like a solar fire. You are something special, Jim. You are going to rattle the stars. You are."
Look at that. I should look in the mirror and tell myself that every day.
Right? If you're looking...
Affirmations right there. I love those affirmations.
I'm going to randomly text you that sometime.
Please do. I'm gonna get it in a moment that I really need it. The person I really want to give all of the accolades to on just the one-liners is just Captain Amelia.
Yes.
Emma Thompson destroyed in a great way this character. She was way overqualified to be voicing this character, and she did it amazingly. I know some of this is obviously the writing itself, but when she says little things like, "Oh, tish tosh, Mr. Silver, can you keep that type of flim-flammery for your spaceport floozies?" Like just things like that. But the best one, though, other than one of them I want to use in everyday life, is unorthodox but ludicrously effective. That was a great one. But no, the best one for sure is to muse and blabber about a treasure map in front of this particular crew demonstrates a level of ineptitude that borders on the imbecilic. And I mean that in a very caring way. Like one of the best monologue, like just all of her different monologues she has like that, where she just goes off, just saying these very specific quotes that I've never heard anybody say before. They were just so good.
No, the specific style of dialogue per each character, from the captain to the doctor to Jim to John Silver, you don't see that often in animation, where the four main characters have very distinct and different styles of dialogue. And then on top of that, you bring in some fantastic actors who just plus it, take it to the maximum. I think that's one of the things that I love so much, is just these back and forths and the dialogue of these characters.
Would you like to get up on your soapbox for the directors of this film, Ron Clement and John Musker?
I love this story. I think this is so fantastic for them. So the directors are John Musker and Ron Clements. They also created the story alongside of Ted Elliott and Terry Rosario, who we know from Pirates of the Caribbean. But John and Ron go way back with Disney, from The Great Mouse Detective to really hitting it huge with The Little Mermaid, Aladdin. They are, I don't know how to, I mean, the biggest directors in animation, if not, you know, they're up there in the top as a duo. They had been trying to get this movie made from the very beginning of their career. Like, they had been pitching this all the time, and Disney just kept saying no and no and no and no. And what was the film that they brought them in to do? Hercules. They brought them in to do Hercules, and they both said to Disney, "Okay, we'll do Hercules for you, but in our contract to do Hercules, you have to guarantee that our next film will be Treasure Planet." And I mean, these are guys, they've done Little Mermaid, they've done Aladdin. These are huge hits, money pouring in for Disney. So they think Hercules is going to be that next big one for them. So of course they'll be like, "Yeah, we'll give you whatever you want. Well, Hercules doesn't, rise to the same level, at least not in the box office, as Little Mermaid and Aladdin, but they're now contractually obligated. So they move on and they do Treasure Planet. And this, I think you feel that in this film to a certain degree, that this is a passion project, right? Yeah. Like these are guys who, they have been thinking and dreaming of this for a really long time, and it shows itself. It really comes out. But I love that story. I love that they kind of had to hamstring Disney into allowing them to watch it and into making it, because I don't think this would have ever been made post Hercules, when Hercules didn't do exactly as they want, but definitely wouldn't have gotten made post Atlantis.
Yeah. That's what was so surprising, that they would come out with a film that obviously not the same thing. Like it doesn't lean as big onto the steampunk stuff that Atlantis does, but yeah, to have a very close follow up to a flop like that, it is pretty big.
Which is, I'm glad that we got both Atlantis and we got Treasure Planet, and for that matter, Lilo and Stitch. Right? These are out of the ordinary. These are atypical Disney, quote unquote, Disney animation that are all three are great movie. Like I like them for specific reasons, but by far Treasure Planet is my favorite of all of those. And like I said, arguably in my top 5 favorite Disney animation movies.
I have one thing that I'm sad that they removed from the source material, and that is there is no mention about the black spot.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad about that, especially
is that too dark for kids?
I don't know, but it was such a funny moment in the Muppet Treasure Island when they do the whole black spot stuff. So it's one of the story, that's the first thing I think of is the black spot. So
we're just past that in the book with Lewis. Your first 3-4 chapters is Billy Bones just hanging around the inn and waiting, to come and be killed from the black spot.
A big part of adapting any piece of literature to film is to know what to contract and what to expand upon, and what to, we gotta push all of these things together. And that whole Billy Bones thing is like, boom, he lands, boom, he gives them the treasure, then they're burning down the thing, and then they're off. Like they scrunch that whole sequence together like a pancake.
Yeah, somewhere in a meeting, somebody's sitting there, Ron or John, going, "We got to get to space. We got to get to space. We got to get to space." Like this story has got to get into space as soon as possible. Otherwise, I think that's the prologue does a great job of that, right? Of like teasing you, of getting you there right away. But yeah, they shortened that whole sequence up quite a lot. And you know what? For this, I'm okay with that.
I was fine with it too.
When you're taking a longer time, when you're really fleshing out, okay, we can do that. But in this, I don't think it really had the space for it. Any other outstanding things here with the great? Did you ever dream of sky surfing like Jim Hawkins?
We could have used a little bit more sky surfing. That was some pretty cool stuff that all that.
Yeah, we only got kind of two sequences there. I could have done with at least one more. Let's throw it in there.
Do we need a honorable mention for Morph?
I thought that was a creative play on the whole parrot thing. If the movie had been more successful, we would have seen some Morph plushes.
Morph toys. They're probably out there somewhere.
Maybe. Somewhere. This has got to have. So it's funny we are reviewing this now because back in November was the 20th anniversary of the release of Treasure Planet. And they already had a sequel in the works prior to release.
Was it Willem Dafoe already in there?
Willem Dafoe was already cast as Ironbeard. They were ready to make this like a universe, like a whole world building within animation, that is cool. Like that gets me excited. Like how cool would that be to have kind of like world building within this narrative in animation? I wish we could have gotten that. I think that would have been fantastic.
Do you know, Eddie? Sometimes plans go astray.
Sadness. So sad. But we have Treasure Planet. I will continue to watch it. I do. I am thankful for what we have. So I think everybody knows where my rating's going to go on this. No surprise there. Where are you going to land on this?
I'm going to go with a 4.
Whoa.
I liked it.
Do explain.
I liked it, but like I said before, I didn't need anything. I already knew the source material. watching it for the first time, for me myself, like I can only take what I remember, and I didn't really remember it from when I was younger. So just being this is like the 35th time I've heard or seen some portion of the Treasure Island story, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed what they did to kind of change it up a little bit, and I really, really liked the Jim Hawkins and Silver relationship, but it wasn't like bring me to tears or like really like emotionally like crazy move me, and so that's why I just dock it a little bit for that. Not much, but I know that you're going to have it up in the 5 gummy worms for you.
It is 5 gummy worms all the way for me. I think this just, it hits on every level for me. And it is also, I don't know, I connect well with the story of Jim, both in Treasure Island and then even just the way that they tell it here. We've talked about on here, like I'm a space nerd. And so like even just kind of setting it in space and kind of adding those elements of it, it's almost like they made it even more easier for me to connect with the story because of that. But I think it's a beautiful story. I think it is one that so many people struggle with through their adolescence to early adulthood of trying to understand, who am I? What am I going to do with the things that have been given to me? Am I, destined for greatness? Can I accomplish? But what does that even look like for me? Others may have expectations on me, but what is the course that I want to chart for myself? That whole, I don't know, that resonates deeply with me, and I know for many others as well. So love this movie. It was particularly fun this time. I had not allowed Lewis to watch it because I wanted to read the book with him. And then because we were doing it with for this and everything, I'm like, okay, I think I'm going to cheat. And so we had like kind of a daddy fun day, and just he and we like put the other kids to bed early. He got to stay up a little late, and we watched this together. And it definitely took this to like another level for me. Like I was already at 5 gummy worms beforehand, but to sit and to watch this with him and to see him light up and enjoy, he loves all things pirates now. So like that was, a big draw for him. Definitely took this to like a whole nother level. And there was quite a few moments of just choking back tears because of all that.
You know what this is, Eddie?
A little sweaty eyed.
You know what this is?
What is this?
It's not just 5 gummy worms. It's 5 cups of dirt pudding.
Oh gosh. Wasn't that the best?
With the little gummy worms inside the dirt pudding.
This is dirt pudding with 5 gummy worms in dirt pudding.
Yep. This is great.
Yeah. Yes.
We found a new level.
And if anybody out there is still trying to figure out what to get me for Christmas, any of you who are related to me listening to this, I think I would really like that poster. That is such a sick poster. Am I right?
It's pretty amazing.
I could see that maybe back here. It doesn't fit the whole national park theme as much, but
I mean,
nonetheless,
it's the adventure. It's adventure.
It is adventure. Yeah, that
you got
is
a palm tree back
thing.
there. You're right about that.
It's called an elephant plant, and I've only watered it twice. It pulls moisture from the air.
That sounds like
cool
witchcraft or science.
Well, 5 gummy worms and dirt pudding from me. JB is still, well, he still can't distinguish what's good Star Wars or not. So I don't know if we will take his 4 as a valid, opinion.
And with that, with all of those opinions, your life has now been forever changed by another episode of Honey, We Made a Disney podcast.
Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to your other favorite podcasts so you don't miss any of these wonderful ramblings. Hey, and while you're there, please give us a 5-star review and share this with your best friends so we can get up to 16 listeners.
You can also check us out at honeywemade.com so you can see our full movie list as we continue to go through all of Disney's major movies from 1988 to 2005, also known as our childhood, including next week when we review Bowls.
Thank you for listening, and remember, you give up a few things chasing a dream.